These little pulses that we are going to add to a natural extension are such a great way to really challenge our quads at their lengthened position when they are typically more vulnerable, and this will over time build a lot of strength. If you have not done these very consistently for quite some time, you're probably not going to be ready for this because this is quite an intense exercise. So please proceed with caution. I always like to start out with a band for these. Progression would be a smaller band for less help or assistance, or no band at all. But like I said, generally speaking, I like to have a little bit of assistance or a band so I can get a little deeper into the range of motion, at least initially. So for this exercise, you're going to think about trying to maintain the rib cage and pelvis connection here. When you're leaning back, the pulses are literally going to be you kicking into the ground gently to push yourself up just a fraction of an inch and then lean back into the movement. And you're gonna pulse the prescribed amount of reps, maybe somewhere between 5 and 6 to start, all the way up to 15, maybe even 25 if we're feeling really mean in programming. It kind of depends on what you're working on, or we can do this for a prescribed amount of time as well for an entire set. It can be very exhausting. However, it can be very, very helpful in breaking through a plateau in your strength and range of motion and building quite a bit of soft tissue resiliency, which is great for mitigating and preventing injuries, as well as just building strength and owning your ranges of motion. So here's what it's gonna look like. Rib cage and pelvis connection. We're gonna slowly lean back into our end range of motion, or about 80% of the way, pulse up a little and come back down. The key here, again, is pushing the feet into the ground and not losing our position. If you lose your rib cage and pelvis connection, it'll kind of look like this, and we don't want that to happen. You'll tend to feel that in your low back a little bit more. So if you're feeling this in your low back, it's just a sign that we might need to come up a little bit more and just pay attention to how you're executing the exercise, and you might actually just need to think about keeping these together a little bit more, and over time with practice, you should be able to improve that as well. So stay consistent with these, be really patient, and please proceed very slowly and cautiously if you introduce these to your programming, because they do take a lot of strength to even be able to do in the first place.